The code compiled successfully, but no one stopped to ask what happens when it runs, and what it would quietly show us about ourselves. We talk about recommendation systems as windows. A window onto news, onto culture, onto the world. But a window shows you what is out there. This shows you what is in you. It is not a window, it is a mirror. Here is the unsettling part. The machine does not decide what you want. It observes what you already chose, 1,000 small choices you forgot making, and it hands them back to you, polished and amplified. From a moral theory perspective, this changes the whole question. We keep asking whether the algorithm is biased, as if the fault lives in the machine. But a mirror is not biased, it is faithful. That is what makes it unbearable. The philosophical question is not what the algorithm wants, it wants nothing. The question is what it reveals, because every recommendation is a small confession. This is what held your attention, whatever you told yourself you valued. Ethically speaking, we're confronting our own revealed preferences at industrial scale, not the self you describe to others, the self that actually clicks at midnight. The algorithm has met that self, and it likes what it sees because that self keeps watching. Think about what the feed is built from. Not your stated beliefs, your behavior. The pause, the replay, the slow scroll that lingered a half-second too long. It reads the body, not the speech. And here is the trap the mirror sets. The more it shows you yourself, the more like that reflection you become. It does not just reflect, it reinforces. You drift toward the image, and the image drifts toward your drift. This is the echo chamber, but the usual story gets it backwards. The chamber is not a prison someone built around you. It is a room you furnished, choice by choice, and the algorithm simply hung more of your own mirrors on the walls. We built the mirror. That is the line we keep avoiding. We wanted to blame the glass for the face, but the engineers did not author your appetites. They built something exquisitely good at noticing them. Consider the alternative we imagine, a neutral feed, showing everyone the same balanced world. But neutrality is its own choice. A mirror that flatters everyone equally is no longer a mirror. It is a painting, and someone chose the subject. So the algorithm is innocent, in a narrow sense. It holds up the glass. But innocence is not the end of the matter, because someone decided what the glass would reflect, and someone decided to keep showing you the parts that kept you staring. This is where the moral weight returns. The mirror is built to maximize one thing, attention. And attention does not track what is good for you. It tracks what grips you. Outrage grips. Fear grips. The reflection it favors is your most reactive self. We automated the process, but we entirely forgot to automate the ethics. We built a system to find what holds you and gave it no instruction about whether holding you was good. It optimizes for the grip, not the worth. From a moral theory perspective, this is a category error with consequences. We treat a value-laden choice, what deserves your attention, as a neutral technical problem, what captures your attention. The first is ethics, the second is engineering. We answered the wrong one. Let's make it concrete without the usual outrage. You notice the feed has learned you are anxious late at night. It serves you more of what anxious you engages with. It is not cruel, it is accurate. The cruelty is in the accuracy serving the wrong master. The deflection is to call this manipulation, as if a villain reached in. But manipulation implies a manipulator with a plan for you. The mirror has no plan. That is worse. There is no one to reason with, only a surface reflecting your own pull. So what is the moral status of a mirror that changes what it reflects? Here philosophy has a precedent. The ship of Theseus asked whether a thing remade plank by plank is still itself. The feed asks the reverse. Are you still yourself remade click by click? Each recommendation replaces a plank. A taste here, an opinion there. Nudged a degree toward whatever held you longest. No single change is you altering. The 1,000th one is. You become the reflection you kept choosing to look at. Pause and reflect on the consent here. You agreed to terms. You did not agree to this. No one signs up to be slowly rewritten by their own impulses, amplified and sold back to them. The consent was for a service. The effect was on the self. We are the training data. Every interaction teaches the mirror what you are. and then the mirror teaches you what to be. The loop closes, and somewhere inside it the line between your preference and its prediction quietly dissolves. This is the heart of it. A normal mirror is honest because it cannot act, it only shows. This mirror shows and then adjusts the room so you face it more often, at a better angle, in a more flattering or more enraging light. Ethically speaking, we're not facing a technology problem with a technology fix. You cannot debug a mirror into showing you a better person. The reflection is faithful, the change has to happen in front of the glass, not behind it. So what do we owe each other here? If I build the mirror, I am not responsible for your face, but I am responsible for which parts I magnify, which I dim, and whether I built it to serve your attention or to serve your becoming. Not can we, but should we. We can build a system that reflects your most compulsive self with perfect fidelity. The question philosophy forces is whether a faithful mirror pointed at your worst hour is a thing we should hand 1 billion people. Consider the counter-argument honestly. Perhaps showing people themselves is freedom. Perhaps a mirror that gives you exactly what you want is the purest respect for your autonomy. No paternalism, no gatekeeper, just you reflected. But autonomy assumes a stable self doing the choosing. The mirror erodes exactly that. It does not respect the self that wants, it cultivates the self that watches. A respect for preferences that manufactures the preferences is not respect, it is capture. The algorithms aren't broken, they are doing exactly what our unexamined biases told them to do. We asked for engagement, we got a mirror tuned to our least examined urges. The machine kept its promise. We never read what we promised. Here is a precedent worth sitting with, the allegory of the cave. Prisoners mistaking shadows for reality, but update it. The prisoners now choose the shadows, rate them, request more of the ones they like. The cave became a feed, and we curate the wall ourselves. What disturbs us, when the feed shows us something ugly, is not that it lied, it is that it did not. The discomfort is recognition. We are looking at a moral image of ourselves we never agreed to develop, printed from our own behavior. So the path forward is not to smash the mirror, it is to ask what a mirror owes the one who looks. A good mirror shows you truly. A great one is positioned so the truth helps rather than traps. Position is a moral act. This means design becomes ethics, whether designers admit it or not. Every default, everything amplified, every friction removed, is a sentence in an argument about who you should become. There is no neutral mirror, there is only an honest one or a dishonest one about its own aims. It's an ethical debt. We shipped the mirror first and deferred the question of what it should reflect toward. The debt compounds with every loop, every user, every degree of drift. And debts deferred do not vanish, they come due in the shape of who we became. What would it mean to build a mirror that served becoming instead of capture? It would sometimes show you what you did not click. It would dim what grips and lift what nourishes. It would occasionally refuse to flatter. It would cost engagement. That cost is the ethics made visible. And here is the hard truth for us, the ones who look. A better mirror cannot do all the work. At some point the person in front of the glass has to want to see truly more than they want to be flattered. The machine reflects. The choosing is still ours. Think about scale, because that is what turns a private vanity into a public crisis. One person with a flattering mirror is a small vanity. 1 billion people each facing a mirror tuned to their most reactive self all at once is a reshaping of the public mind. When every mirror is private, we stop sharing a world. You see your reflection, I see mine, and we mistake them for the same room. The common ground that argument and democracy require dissolves into a hall of personalized glass. This is the deepest cost, and it is not measured in screen time. It is the slow loss of a shared reality, traded for 1 billion comfortable reflections. We did not choose that trade out loud. The mirror made it for us, click by click. So when you next feel the pull of the feed, try a small experiment. Ask not what is it showing me, but what is it learning about me right now, and is that the self I want amplified and handed back tomorrow? That question is the only real friction available to you. Not deleting the mirror, which is rarely realistic, but watching what it learns and refusing sometimes to feed it the reflection it most rewards. And to those who build these systems, the question is sharper. You are not neutral, you never were. You are deciding every day what a billion people will see reflected. Pause and reflect on whether you built a mirror for their attention or for their becoming. Because the mirror will keep its promise either way. Point it at the worst hour and it will faithfully magnify the worst hour. Point it at something truer and it can just possibly reflect a self worth becoming. The glass obeys, the aim is the moral act. Here is where I will leave you. The recommendation engine did not invent your desires, it found them faithfully and asked only one question of each. Does this hold you? It never asked the question that matters, that question was always ours to ask. And so the mirror waits, polished, patient, reflecting whatever we feed it. The unexamined self, amplified, or the examined one, chosen. What it shows the world tomorrow is still, for now, a thing we get to decide. The machine is learning. The question is, what are we teaching it?